Hi, we're removing Panoramas from Austin, Texas. I'm Leslie.
I'm Cara.
I'm Rosie.
I'm Jody.
That's Jody back there. And thanks to the American Non-Smokers' Rights Foundation for having us and sponsoring this video. And congrats to Smokefree Cities for 15 years of smoke-free bars and venues. That's amazing. Time flies. And yeah, so we're going to play some songs for you for this little mini concert. This song's called One. So, yeah, I don't know if you guys were around when the bars were still smoking in Texas. Mm-hmm. Were you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was. When I moved here, I was in college, and I guess before I'd come down here, I'd already spent the first 20 years of my life as a secondhand smoker because my house was a smoking household as a child and a teenager, and then the next 10 years were singing in smoky bars, not knowing any different. just inhaling smoke on stage for 10 years. So the first 30 years of my life, I was a secondhand smoker. And I suffered from chronic bronchitis ever since I was a little kid until I was in my early 20s, late 20s. And then it wasn't until I moved to New York City, where the bars were non-smoking, that the chronic bronchitis went away. And my doctor there was like, oh yeah, it's because you're not singing in smoky bars anymore. And we didn't know any different back then. We just were used to it. I was used to coming home after a show and throwing my clothes outside and taking a shower at night, taking a shower in the morning to get the smoky smell out. It was just a way of life. So yeah, and the only time it's come back since then is when I've been on tour and I've played in places like Spain or Georgia or Pennsylvania, and they still allowed smoking in those venues at the time, and I would get bronchitis. So, I mean, I had no idea that it was saving my life 15 years ago when y'all did the smoking ban. And yeah, thank you for that. So yeah, so thank you. Congrats on 15 years again. I can't believe it's been 15 years. So yeah, let's do a song about whiskey. Whiskey, but it doesn't talk about smoky bars, thankfully. I wrote it about non-smoking bars.
Whiskey will also char your voice.
It will char your voice. thanks to the American Non-Smokers' Rights Foundation and its Smoke-Free Music Cities for having us. And congrats on 15 years of smoke-free bars and venues. I have to say, I probably wouldn't sing like I do now if the bars were still smoking. Nope. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't know any different. But, I mean, I also think that, not to get a little too dark, but I think my mother would still be here if this type of law had been passed earlier in her life. She smoked up until the day she passed away, and she passed away probably 30 years too early. So they say that smoking just takes off the last few years of your life if you're lucky, but for all the smokers in my family that are now gone, it's probably taken the last 30 years of their lives off. So I feel very strongly about this, and I'm very grateful for not having to perform in smoking venues, because as secondhand smoke is just as dangerous as firsthand smoke, and even thirdhand smoke from years later after my mom's smoking in this house. Where I live, and we're playing in the backyard right now, I'm still affected by it. So I think that if this hadn't been passed, I think that our lives would be a lot different right now, and who knows. But it's good because it's the future, and now maybe we'll live a little bit longer too. That's the hope, right? And that's awesome. So I mean, I even know smokers that thought, this was gonna suck, and now they're like, oh, I'm so glad that I don't have to play in a smoky bar. I just go outside to smoke. My dad, he was a musician all his life, and he had a bass that was the color of this when he bought it in the 60s. And now it's like the color of this chair. It's yellow, like bright yellow, like tartar, like commercials when you see the coffee tartar teeth yellow. That's the color of that bass. And it still smells like cigarettes. So anyway, it's affected everyone in my family, and hopefully it's affected everybody that we know positively. So thank you. And on that note, let's play a song about my mom. What do you think? She'd be proud. The song's called Harmony.
something unknown. The cold hearts of
remembers smoking in airplanes in the 80s? I mean, Rosie, you were born in the 90s. Do you remember? Do you have any memory?
Smoking in the 80s? Yeah, my grandma smoked like a freight train.
Do you remember smoking in airplanes?
No.
Do you have any memory of that?
I didn't
Oh,
fly
absolutely.
until I was
smoked in
18.
airplanes.
Jody smoked in airplanes in the 80s. Yeah, my grandmother was a big smoker. And that's my memory of smoking in airplanes is specifically of my grandmother, my mom's mother. And she and I used to take trips together all the time, and it was like the smoking section and the non-smoking section were literally divided by a curtain, if you're lucky, or just by a seat, nothing. And it was like the smoking section just always entered into the non-smoking section, probably just like restaurants.
Yeah, it's recycled
So
smoking.
gross. So gross. Think about it. But I remember back when I have a very vivid memory of my grandmother being really upset when they were going to take smoking off airplanes. And she's like, I'll never fly again. They're just going to ruin flying for everyone. I'm going to have to take trains, which would be awesome. But you can't smoke on trains anymore either. But I remember, like, the whole scare of that. And then the flying's never changed since then. And on that note, I just want to sidetrack with my ADD. I remember, like, after the smoking ban of airplanes happened, like, years later, we took a trip together, and they had the little smoking cube room at the airport, and she had to quit smoking because she had a stroke at some point, and she was recovered. So she just went and sat in that smoking cube room and was just like, just taking it in. Like,
Sweet relief.
Sweet relief, right. Anyway, we don't have those smoking cubes in bars. You just go outside. But I think about when talk of the smoking ban was going to happen in Austin, people were like, it's going to ruin bars. It's going to ruin music. Nobody's going to go to shows. Bars are going to close down. And obviously, it didn't change a thing. Now we know what really closes bars and venues down are health pandemics. So here we are. Not funny, but it's, thank you. All I got to say is thanks. And I'm so glad that the American Non-Smokers' Rights Foundation and its Smokefree Music Cities, fought to have this happen, because you're not only helping the smokers, you're helping the non-smokers, you're helping the venues, you're helping the workers, everybody. And so on that note, we're going to play one more song. And thanks again for having us. We're Moving Panoramas from Austin, Texas. Thanks again to the American Non-Smokers' Rights Foundation and the Smoke-Free Cities. Thanks for sponsoring this. Congrats on 15 years of smoke-free bars and venues. You did it. And for future forever. Here's to the future. Forever. Living longer and happier. Okay. The song's called Baby Blues. Thanks again. Thanks again. We're moving Panoramas from Austin, Texas. Thanks again, American Non-Smokers Rights Foundation and its Smokefree Cities for sponsoring this, and congrats on 15 years of smoke-free bars and venues. I'm Leslie.
I'm Cara.
I'm Rosie.
And I'm Jody.
It's Jody, and don't forget Carter, the man behind the Oz behind the soundboard. Yeah, thanks for having us, and yeah, here's to many more years. Thank you. Take care.